Residential sales comparison and income approaches. Help. Documents. Email instructor. CH for procedures of the sales comparison approach, partial interests, and real property rights. PG-29 partial interests, private restrictions. Notes print. Leave a comment. Partial interests, private restrictions. Partial interests can also be created by an owner voluntarily placing private property right restrictions on a property. These could include deed restrictions that apply only to a singular property, or conditions, covenants, and restrictions, CC and RS, that may apply to multiple properties in a subdivision or community association. A deed restriction is defined as a provision written into a deed that limits the use of land. Deed restrictions usually remain in effect when title passes to subsequent owners. You may also find during your research that certain restrictions apply to property ownership on either the subject or the comparables you are planning to use. For example, people less than 55 years of age may be prohibited from property in a retirement community. It would therefore be inappropriate to use a sale in such a community as a comparable for a subject in a family-oriented neighborhood without justification and comment. Deed restrictions can be almost anything that your mind could conjure up, as long as the grantor proposes it and the grantee accepts it. Then it becomes formalized in the deed and controls some facet of the property. A deed restriction may restrict the use of the property to a specific use such as single-family residential, or might stipulate that the property could never become a restaurant, or that alcohol can never be sold on the premises. In commercial properties, you may encounter restrictions that comprise a non-compete policy. A property that is currently a dry cleaning establishment may be sold with the proviso that the new owners may never use the property as a dry cleaning store. The grantors may be selling the property so that they can open another dry cleaning store nearby in a different building and do not want competition. End of page. Chapter start. 22%. Residential sales comparison and income approaches. Help. Documents. Email instructor. CH for procedures of the sales comparison approach, partial interests, and real property rights. PG-30 partial interests, private restrictions. Notes print. Leave a comment. Partial interests, private restrictions. Conditions, covenants, and restrictions, CC and RS, are like a group of similar deed restrictions that apply to multiple properties. They are defined as a list of expressed assurances and limitations on land use, often found in contracts between a land subdivider and a lot purchaser. CC and RS should be specified in the conveyance. CC and RS should be readily apparent as they will be filed in the applicable courthouse and should be recited in each deed. They may vary considerably in complexity and severity, somewhat akin to the restrictions in historic districts that we've referred to earlier. Typically, they would include restrictions against certain uses, such as being able to keep recreational vehicles in a driveway or have livestock and pets. Other covenants may stipulate minimums, such as minimum square footages for new construction or minimum cost figures. They also may be viewed in a positive or negative way by the market. If a subdivision or development has unusually restrictive covenants in a strict enforcement policy, it may put a damper on the desirability of the project. If the covenants and restrictions result in a harmonious atmosphere that benefits all, then it may be viewed as a positive